So you find yourself replaying the same situation over and over in your head, wondering if you had phrased something differently, maybe they would have responded differently. If that sounds like you and overthinking is a situation you find yourself in on a daily basis, then today I'm going to help you unpack why that is and learn how to navigate that so that you are no longer a victim of the prison that can sometimes be our own minds. So I'd like to start with a famous quote by Marcus Aurelius, which is that your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. Notice how he didn't say your happiness depends on the people that are around you or your circumstances. He said the quality of your thoughts. So what's really beautiful about this and how it pertains to overthinking is the Stoics taught people that there are two things in any event. There is the event itself, whatever that painful situation is, or that uncomfortable situation that happened to you, whatever situation may be that caused you to overthink. And then there is a separate thing, which is your interpretation of that situation. And there's always these two buckets here. The difference between people who find themselves caught in their mind constantly and those who are freer and are more in a flow state and don't seem to be so much in their heads, that difference is merely the second bucket here, the story we tell ourselves about the thing or the event or the circumstance, whatever it is that happens to you. In other words, the Stoics also preach that we suffer more in our minds than we do in reality. And it all ties back to the same concept here, which is that two people can go through the same painful experience. And that pain may not be something that they can control, but the suffering afterwards is something in their control. So two people can go through that same painful experience, and one of them stays stuck and never seems to fully recover. Meanwhile, the other person seems to somehow move through that situation so much more quickly and move on and forward with their life and even thrive. The only difference between these two people was the story that they told themselves about that situation. And so pain, again, is not optional. Suffering, however, is. And it all ties back to what we tell ourselves in our mind, the quality of our thoughts, the quality of the questions we're asking ourselves, the quality of the assessment that we have going on with our own brain. So, what I mean by assessment is, and this is how you're going to no longer be a victim to overthinking, is you can be the person that takes your thoughts as completely factual and everything your thoughts are you believe are objectively true, and that's what most of us do. Or you can take your thoughts and look at them as merely an observer. You just notice them. Oh, I noticed that this thought came up. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that that's objectively true. There's a difference between thinking something and, oh my gosh, I must be this or that, or this situation happened, and you tell yourself a story and you all of a sudden run with that story, and that story triggers certain feelings in you. And, that's why you can go through a negative experience and react however which way, but then think about that same experience years later and still feel those same emotions, because our brain can't differentiate between reality and what's in our brain. Okay? Reality and your imagination are the same, because in both situations, whatever the situation may be, our brain's primary goal is to just always keep us safe, whether that's from a physical threat, an emotional threat, it's all the same. So our minds have this negativity bias. And going back to my main point here, is what that means is when situations happen, especially situations that create a heightened emotional experience, that it tends to be heavier, denser emotions, our first thoughts are often something that is negative. And so we have a choice in every situation. As hard as it may be, we still have a choice. We can either take that first negative thought that assumption, that negative interpretation, and we can run with it, and we can make it mean something about us, something that we know we don't want to believe, but that's all we can think of because we have tunnel vision in the moment, and we're just going to take that and run with it because that's the easiest thing to do. Or we can just be intentional about creating just an extra moment of pause and observe what thoughts come up immediately after the thing. And instead of making those thoughts, especially the negative ones, mean something about us, ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? Oh, what's that thought that came up? Oh, that's interesting. Is that thought objectively true? I guarantee you 99.99999% of the time, the answer is no. So you don't have to believe that thing. You don't have to identify with that thing. You do not have to suffer from whatever thoughts your brain will produce as a result of whatever situation that you did not have control over. You can choose to be an observer in that moment and say, okay, thank you, brain. I see you're feeling this way and you're trying to protect me from this thing, and I understand what's going on here. I'm going to pause, create some distance, not identify with those thoughts because I know they're not 100% objectively true. Then I'm going to breathe and move forward. And those thoughts might come up again, but guess what? Your response the first time started to already train your body that you are going to respond differently because you are no longer threatened by this system, this response, this situation. You know how to respond. You know that you are safe because you trust yourself to handle whatever uncertainties, whatever situations come your way. You are the common denominator between everything that you have survived, everything you've overcome in your life. You are here in this moment now, and you got here for a reason. And so, again, you do not have to identify with any thoughts your brain will conjure up that will keep you stuck in this heavy, dense, negative, stressed emotional state. At the end of the day, pain is not a choice, but suffering is. And that is the point that the Stoics were making. So I encourage you to stop that overthinking. All you need is the intention to just create a little bit longer of a pause between the event and the stories you start to tell yourself of the event. And you may not be able to control the first thought, again, that pops up in your mind after that event, but you can control how you respond after that thought. You can control that next 5 seconds after. And so remember, you have so much more power than you would even realize. All it takes is a little bit of awareness, which you got from this video, and a teensy bit of action, just choosing a little bit differently so you train your brain and your body to react a little bit differently. And trust me with that, you will start to find yourself on a much quicker path to true freedom and happiness, because you will feel lighter and you will understand your own sovereignty, the sheer volume of sovereignty you really have within you. You are so much more capable than you know, and you are inherently worthy of all the happiness that you desire in this lifetime. All right, if you found this helpful, then subscribe for more free content like this.